Hello again. Welcome to another one of my Adam's Corner videos. This is a companion piece to my podcast, which can be found at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all those places you normally go. I do a Blu-ray and 4K show once a month. And this is kind of a visual representation of those discs that I talk about. This go round, we're going to be talking exclusively about Kino Lorber titles. Yes, Kino Lorber titles. These are some of the Kino Lorber titles that I've gotten for the month of August. And we are grateful that they have sent me these excellent, for the most part, titles that they have sent me. And even the ones that maybe the quality's a little questionable on some of these, I'm glad to have them and glad to have the privilege to review them. So let's just say that. So what we'll do is we will start at the end of July, which there's a title that I had yet to get last time that I did one of these videos. And so I'm going to go ahead and talk about that one right quick, and that would be No Way Out from 1987. And there's a shot of the back of it. This was a very popular film, came out in August of 1987. I had not seen it probably in at least a good 20 years. I always thought it was a very well done film from director Roger Donaldson. And it basically, the story is that Kevin Costner is, he's in love with Sean Young, and Sean Young is also having an affair with Gene Hackman, who is a man of high importance in Washington, D.C., let's just say. And so I don't want to say too much, but let's just say that Kevin Costner finds himself accused, or possibly being accused of murder, and he has to figure out how to clear his name once he sees where that's going. And anyway, Roger Ebert gave this film 4 stars. I remember Leonard Maltin gave it 3. I'm somewhere in between those two, maybe a 3.5 out of 4 in terms of quality. There's a lot of twists and turns during the last hour, and you have to pay really good, close attention in order to get it all. So there is that. It's not the kind of film where you can play around on your phone, and because you'll miss something. You really will. But there's some great the kind of erotic things that we used to see in adult-oriented films. Back in the 80s and 70s, and well, even into the 90s, I guess, and that we don't see so much anymore. So there's some great eroticism involving Kevin Costner and Sean Young in the film, and so it's just a well done film. Like I said, the love scenes, the plot twists, all of that come together. It's a new Dolby Vision Master from a 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negative. And you get an archival commentary by the director and a new commentary by film historian and filmmaker Steve Mitchell and writer and actor Richard Brewer. Film stories, Simon Brew interviews Roger Donaldson, and a theatrical trailer. So, yeah, solid release, I would say, and we'll take it out of the packaging here and let you see what you get. You get a Blu-ray and the 4K disc, of course. So there you go. But nice packaging, and just great to have this on 4K Ultra HD. No Way Out. So moving along to the August titles, and some of these, and I don't think any of these, as I'm recording this, have been issued yet, but they're well on the way, so we'll go ahead and talk about them anyway. I've gotten a chance to watch a few of them, not all, but I've actually dipped in to look and see what the quality is, even the ones I didn't get to watch in their entirety, and so I can at least comment on the quality on these. Frogs is one of the titles that they're offering this month, previously released by Shout and Scream Factory on a double feature. I don't remember what the other one was. I want to say it was Food of the Gods, maybe not. I can't remember. This is, of course, Ray Milland, 1972 film, Joan Van Ark, Adam Rourke, and Sam Elliott. And Ray Milland is, he's this rich man that owns this island, and they have a birthday celebration for him every year, and his family comes down, and the island is overrun by reptiles and things of that nature. And you find out that through the course of the film that Raymond has been doing a lot of bad things for the environment on the island, and you get the sense that the reptiles are striking back. The film is directed by George McCowan. The pacing is a little bit off on this film, always has been for me. Maybe with about 15 minutes chopped out of this film, it would have been a little more enjoyable, but it does have its charms. Even having said that, there's some good things. The ecological subtext of the film is a good thing, and it does have some good kills, as it were. So it's a mixed bag. I know some people, it gets like a 4.5 or something on IMDb, and most of the reviews were tepid at best. But I kind of sort of have a fondness for it, even though I admit it's not a great film. Audio commentary by film historian David Del Valle and film historian Don Marino, the son of the NFL legend, and an interview with actress Joan Van Ark and a theatrical trailer. So, and interestingly enough, there's a character in the film who, she falls into a bog and dies that way. In the trailer, she falls into a quicksand, and it's not in the film. So that's an interesting side note for anybody paying close attention. Frogs, the picture quality on this, the bit rate is very high. For a Blu-ray, about around 40 or something of that nature, hovering around the 40 megabytes per second range. Which brings me, I meant to mention earlier that No Way Out, the megabytes per second are around 80 to 85. They're really high as well. Great picture transfer on this, great audio transfer. Some nice subwoofer action going on with the No Way Out soundtrack. I failed to mention that earlier, so sorry about that. Frogs is and you get the 5.0, by the way, soundtrack in with the No Way Out. Frogs is a 2.0, of course. Back in the days when they recorded, most films were they were 2.0 audio productions and sometimes 1.0 audio. So it's just basic, stuff, but it gets the job done. It's fine. So there's a whole slew of these titles that were previously issued by Shout and Scream. One of them I did not get, Squirm. I didn't request that one because I already had the Scream and Shout version of it, and I don't like to abuse the privilege that I'm offered to review their product. I don't want to just take everything. I want to just be judicious. And so in the interests of being judicious, I opted for 3 more of the titles that they are reissuing. One is the Food of the Gods. I mentioned that one earlier. This features an audio commentary by the late Lee Gambon, who I had on my podcast, my previous podcast, at least twice. He was a really nice guy. I really miss him. We had some great conversations. And this film, the disc is dedicated to Lee's memory. There's a title card there that dedicates it to his memory. The audio commentary is also includes John Harrison, the author of Wildcat, the films of Marjoe Gortner. Marjoe Gortner is in this film. Audio commentary by the director as well, Bert I. Gordon, who we just lost either last year or the year before. I believe he was 100. And in an interview with actress Belinda Balaski, who's in many, many great cult films. And a theatrical trailer, again, solid picture transfer. This is about a 40 megabytes per second, somewhere in that range. Very, very good stuff. Of course, it's basically about 2 football players who go to this island to take a weekend vacation, and they encounter all kinds of actually 3 football players. One of them is killed by a giant wasp, and so the other 2 are trying to find out what's causing all of the wildlife on the island to grow to gigantic proportions, and they find that it's there's some sort of a food that's coming out of the ground that they're feeding on, and it's again, this film got terrible reviews. And the special effects run hot and cold, I will say. There's some scenes that are pretty pretty cheesy, and then sometimes the effects aren't bad at all. So it depends on, it goes from scene to scene. The quality of the special effects vary. I don't know. I've always had fun with this movie. I know a lot of people think, I don't know what they think of me for admitting that, but there's there are some charms to be had. I've seen a lot worse, I'll say that. Although I'll admit it's not great cinema by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really glad to have a Blu-ray of it. Again, we'll take this out of the, and you get that, and and there you go. I think I failed to do that with the frogs as well, so we'll pull that out and let you see what that looks like. Just so you know, there you go. Got the original theatrical artwork on that, and you open it up, and there you go. And so, anyway, another one of the Kino cult releases would be another Burt I. Gordon production, Empire of the Ants from 1977. I first encountered this film. Now, Food of the Gods I first encountered on VHS tape. I rented it from my local video store. Frogs I encountered on late night. I think it was on a Saturday night at 11:30. We had a local channel that would show horror films on Saturday nights, and it turned up there. This film I encountered on a local television station when I was staying with relatives in Washington, D.C. in the summer of 1982. WDCA, Channel 20, I remember that. In the afternoons, they would show, on Saturdays, horror films and genre films, and this was one of them. And I remember having a blast with it way back when. Now, I'll admit, again, it's like Food of the Gods. It's definitely not great cinema, but it's really good to have it on Blu-ray. It's previously been another Shout Scream Factory, as I mentioned, release. There you go. And, basically, it's giant ants. Joan Collins stars in this. And it's a toxic spill is what is the culprit, and it's been a while since I've gotten a chance to watch it all the way through. I hope to soon, but I will say I did get a chance to check out the picture quality. Again, around 40 megabytes per second. This is a nice, nicely encoded disc, and the audio is solid. Again, it's 2.0 audio, but that's fine for what it is. Audio commentary by David Del Valle again, and the filmmaker historian Michael Verratti. Audio commentary by the late Burt I. Gordon, the writer and director of the film and the theatrical trailer. So, Empire of the Ants. Now, this next film is actually a very good film, I think. Kingdom of the Spiders, starring William Shatner when he was in that weird phase of his career in between the ending of the Star Trek television series and the beginning of the Star Trek movie franchise. And he was basically just taking whatever jobs he could get to eke out a living, and this was one of them. I think it's a very good film. A small town is invaded by spiders, not gigantic ones, just regular poisonous spiders, and they're killing the town folk. And so there you go. You've got William Shatner trying to figure out how to defeat these spiders in the film, and it's really well directed by John Bud Cardos, who made other genre films. I think he also directed The Dark and other things. It's got an audio commentary by the late Lee Gambon again. Audio commentary by the director, John Bud Cardos, who is no longer with us. Producer Igo Cantor, the Spider Wrangler, the cinematographer. On an audio commentary with actress Tiffany Bowling, which is also on here. And an interview, on-camera interview with Tiffany Bowling, and the interview with the writer Steve Lodge. So, this is a really good movie and a good transfer, I would say, of Kingdom of the Spiders. Again, high bit rates for a Blu-ray, around 40 megabytes per second. Good stuff, just really, and I'm really a fan of this movie. It has a lot of chills and thrills, as they say. So, yeah. So we have a couple of, we have one more Blu-ray release. It's a revenge thriller with Burt Reynolds, Navajo Joe, where he's a Native American on a quest for vengeance. And, before Burt became a household name. It's directed by Sergio Corbucci, who's a favorite of Quentin Tarantino's. Audio commentary by the filmmaker Alex Cox. Scene-specific audio commentary by Ennio Morricone expert Gary Palmucci. I'm sorry, I'll get that out. My tongue is just tied for some reason. And there you go, Navajo Joe. This has been previously issued, but it was it has had gone out of print and has now been reissued, and nicely. The transfer is, I don't think it's any different, but it's a very good, healthy bit rate as well, around 40, just like the others. So Navajo Joe, directed by Sergio Corbucci. And last but not least, we've got 2 4K releases, one of which is one of the most bizarre films of the early 70s, I would say, Prime Cut, which is starring Lee Marvin, Gene Hackman, Sissy Spacek. Basically, Gene Hackman has been laundering money from the mob, and he's using a meatpacking company as his front. So Lee Marvin's sent down there to collect the money, and yeah, there's also he's kidnapping young girls and using them as sex workers or whatever, and there's all of that going on. It's directed by Michael Ritchie, who did, of course, Fletch and Downhill Racer and The Candidate and other films as well. It's a very interesting, and Smile is another one of his big films, notable films. It's a very interesting film. It has a really great chase with a combine chasing Sissy Spacek and Lee Marvin in the wheat fields, and there's a lot of good action scenes in it, but it's a very just bizarre movie because of some of the areas that it goes into. It's just it's definitely not your typical early 70s film, but it's a great transfer. This was originally a CBS production, and Paramount owns the rights to that. The CBS productions now, and it's just a really good 4K transfer, close to 100 megabytes per second most of the time. It's a 4K scan of the original 35mm negative, and you get a commentary by Dwayne Epstein, a commentary by Steve Mitchell and Nathaniel Thompson, the theatrical trailer. Again, there you go. Very good stuff. You get a Blu-ray as well. So, Prime Cut. And last but not least, last year at Marienbad, which was this was the winner of the Golden Lion at the 1961 Venice Film Festival. It's they call it a puzzle of a film, and it's about a man who had an affair the previous year, or did he? At Marienbad, and he's trying to decide if what he remembers is entirely correct, or is his mind playing tricks on him. It's like I said, a puzzle of a film, highly regarded. You get a 4K disc with the film and an audio commentary by film historian Tim Lucas. And then on the Blu-ray, you get an interview with filmmaker Volker Schlondorf. Last year at Marienbad, A to Z, a visual essay by James Quant, Memories of Last Year at Marienbad, and a short film by Alan Rene, who directed the film. This is a Kino Lorber, not Kino Lorber Studio Classics, but Kino Lorber proper, last year at Marienbad, but it is a 4K release, and a beautiful one at that. And there you go. And just very, very high bit rates. Again, 90s in most spots. Just really well done. It's a black and white film shot in widescreen, and those kind of films are the best when they get the upgrade to 4K. So, yeah. So that's my wrap up of the Kino films that I've received and gotten a chance to look at. There's some real good ones in here. A lot of stuff that's worth your time. So just wanted to update everyone on Kino titles. I'll talk more about those when I get to the end of August and I do my normal Blu-ray roundup. Until the next time, keep those discs spinning.